And now I would like to introduce our first presenter today, Arnaud Dasperez, founder and president of Hexagroup Limited, is an entrepreneur who combines solid, multifaceted enterprise in marketing consulting, digital strategy, web development, technology, and business leadership. His extensive knowledge of oil and gas industry, coupled with his strategic approach to content development and distribution, are guiding Hexagroup to become the leading digital agency in the Southwest United States. After successfully merging his former company of web development agency, GoBase2, with an oil and gas staffing firm, Arnaud Dasperez founded Hexagroup in 2004 to take web development, online communication, and consulting to another level. Arnaud holds an MBA in International Business from IEA, the Institute of European Affairs, Paris, France. He sits on the board of Mission Squash, Grant A. Star Foundation, and Et Voilà Theatre. Excuse my French pronunciation. Arnaud's client and here to manage his case study is Mr. Eric Flynn, the Global Marketing Manager from Lloyd's Register. Eric has held several marketing management positions developing Lloyd's Register Energy over the past 5 years. In that time, he has managed the integration of 9 acquisitions, the development of product structures and branding, marketing, sales, and proposal processes, market planning and promotions, and an integrated digital presence. He came to Lloyd's Register from P2 Energy Solutions, where he had the responsibility for marketing, planning, and budgeting, new project development, online marketing, and pricing. He has more than 20 years of experience in managing all aspects of marketing, with more than 14 years of experience concentrating on energy marketing. Prior to working in oil and gas industry, Mr. Flynn headed up marketing operations for companies in the construction and professional services industries, with a focus on producing and managing strategic plans, market plans, and integrated promotional campaigns. He earned a Bachelor's of Business Administration in Marketing, a Bachelor of Business Administration in Management, and a Master of Science in Marketing from Texas A&M University. Please welcome to the podium Arnaud and Eric.
To start the presentation, I'd like to give you a little bit of background on Lloyd's Register. Lloyd's Register is one of the big 4 classification societies globally. We were founded in 1760. For the first 200 years, we focused on a fairly finite set of products around classification, regulatory compliance, inspection, certification, verification, primarily for surface marine assets. In the last couple decades, though, we've been expanding fairly rapidly, branching out into other industries, and particularly in the energy market, both upstream and downstream. By way of example, we've acquired, just in the last 5 years in the United States, 9 different companies. So now we help companies in the energy industry make sure that their assets and their people and their processes perform as intended, safely and consistently. We do that now through new product lines in risk analysis, risk management, engineering and technical consulting, human engineering, and more recently even field development. With all of the acquisitions we've made, we now have hundreds of products. We have thousands of cross-marketing opportunities, and we have tens of thousands of possible product combinations. That's too much for any person to keep track of, remember, be able to communicate, be able to effectively convey in any given situation. Our business development community, they fall back oftentimes in their comfort zones from the legacy companies that they came from, because they don't have access to this information. And in situations, they're simply not aware of a lot of our capabilities to discuss them and to go into detail on what those products are. In addition to that, we're finding through analytics and through conversations with our clients, our customers, our different markets, are fairly random in how they come across our solutions. They themselves don't know how to search for the solutions that we provide. We find in Google Analytics often a person comes into our website looking for one thing, but actually schedules a meeting to discuss something entirely different with us. And we found that very interesting. So the situation that we're faced with is across the organization we have a real need to communicate this really broad set of products that we have and also distribute it so all of our business development community have access to consistent communication across our 180 offices around the world. The goal for this project was to create a flexible tool which serves our products in any given situation. Some objectives under that were to avoid our own imposing our own structure and view of our products on the markets and our clients, to facilitate their search for solutions in the ways that they look for things, enable exploration of possibilities, and then hopefully create epiphanies along the way and become a resource to our markets and to our clients. Some secondary objectives for this project were to enhance our engagement in trade shows, to improve our lead collection across the board, to create a paperless booth at the exhibits that we go to, and to create consistent, accessible collateral. So the product has actually been fairly successful for us. We've implemented it at a number of trade shows, starting with OTC 2013 last year, offshore Europe, offshore Brazil, OTC Brazil, more recently at the Australian Oil and Gas Conference, and OTC Asia in Kuala Lumpur. It has been effective in drawing traffic into the booth. The business development people have found it fairly engaging, either in self-navigation as people come up to our booth, or in leading conversations with them in the booth. And then on the lead collection front, again, going back to the paperless booth concept, in order to receive collateral from us on particular products that they're looking for, we ask them to input their information. Or on some of the more sophisticated trade shows like OTC here in Houston, we can actually use the scanner and zap their information right into our system, which follows through. Our company uses Salesforce and CRM and populates fields in those applications for us. It did win the Communications Award last year, and we're very proud of that. And more recently, we had a board of directors meeting here in Houston, and we presented several of our board members with it, and it's generating quite a bit of excitement across the company. Again, going back to these guys at the top, recognize the breadth of our products and the communicating in the way that we look at ourselves, either in our organizational structure or things that are important to us, supply chain management or asset life cycle, don't really hit the mark with customers. Going back to the concept that they're fairly random in how they look for our products and what interests them along the way.
So when you're talking about a interactive type of display, which is basically what all these mobile applications are, when we're talking about Lloyd's Register, you've got a really multifaceted audience. I mean, here you can see on this particular screen, you can definitely see offshore, offshore and gas. Now, when you're looking at it in, my clicker works. In Brazil, you have a Brazilian audience in front of you, so that needs to be adapted to multilingual. And then you've got tens of companies and hundreds of product lines, and you need to have a scalability in all the environments. And that's all, that's all fine. But another aspect of it is it needs to be intuitive, interactive, mobile. And the one thing that makes a solution very useful and used is the use of high impact graphics. So in all the solution we provide, we're looking at high impact videos and 3D animation to convey a lot of the messaging, even at the interface level. A button is a button. A button can be taken a lot of different ways. So make it, the use of high impact video and intuitive navigation to a global offering, a multi-environment is one challenge that we were faced, from the get-go, and it was something that the clients were really demanding. When you're going to a trade show, usually, I mean, you see a lot of fancy graphics because it's done for the trade show. But if we want to take that to a tablet and use for, on an everyday basis, it needs to be adapted, and we want to keep that experience all along the way. So let's look at just for a couple of minutes here of the kind of the navigation and the workflow. So you're looking at a particular organization here and an environment. So for that particular example here, we're in the offshore environment, and you have different assets. So in essence, the drilling rig. So when you get into your drilling rig experience here, you have access to some additional information, so that you get to the product line associated to it. And from that product line, you have a breadth of information you can access from fact sheets and a lot of different content that you can configure at will. So when it comes down to Lloyd, we're looking at these different content types. The mouse is acting up. So videos, any type of documents, and then presentation, HTML content, and any kind of images. So that makes this tool a sales tool, a self-presentation tool. And when we go down to how this become a lead generation, when you provide an experience to the user of discovering what the company is about and actually figuring out what service could match what their offering is, they need to be able to get access to some information. And so we build that around what we call a literature ordering center. You could call it more simply a library or a document library. So you can order documentation on the fly when you read it, or from a central library. So again, that's available at the trade show booth. It's seamless on the tablet, and on that particular screen, you can see here, it's kind of a drag and drop, and the documentation is organized the way the administrator wants to organize it. But we need to go one step forward in terms of making it easy for the user to actually give us their information. So then, like Eric was stating, we've got the badge scanning technology integrated in, so we can adapt our lead generation from all the different shows, and basically from a simple scanner or even a camera get the information from the user. When you're in the sales type outside of a trade show, and there's no scanner, you can always type your information in. So we've developed an interactive presentation. We got our audience to discover what the company is all about. We helped the people, the service line manager, to actually configure and present what data and keep it up to date. Now we've sent our audience some information. Now what do these people do with that information? So we've got these tablets, in different places. We've got different trade shows happening. We need a way to figure out, the analytics. Is that working for us? So in terms of analytics, the tool is integrated with some marketing automation platform. In essence, Lloyd is using HubSpot for marketing automation. So we use it and integrate it for all aspects, whether it's at a trade show and it's in the sales environment. So there's tool set on the technical end, and I won't get into that today. where we have to track that information offline and push it to HubSpot when we're back online. So there's one of these elements, and then we need to make sure that the Salesforce update is updated as real time as we can through the CRM, like Eric was mentioning. Lloyd, through their acquisition, expanded the use of their CRM. Hopefully, you'll get back to one CRM one day, so it will simplify your life a little bit, but it's a little bit of a logistical issue. But getting access to this information is key. So what we're tracking is once the information has been sent, once the we have shared a lot of data, what's being read and what is the data that actually people are looking for. So that also helps us developing additional content. Lloyd has a tremendous amount of, we're talking about, you said tens of thousands of potential services. Well, if you're looking at just potential presentations in the system and potential data sheets, it's a large amount of data sheets. So making sure we can retire the one that I've never read is also a big incentive, especially for marketing. They like to know what they don't have to do and not, what additional content they need to create. So here, we have a video, but it's not playing very well from here, but someone interacting at the show. So I'll pass on this here. Let's give you a quick overview of kind of the implementations. And so we have a user, a client. So that client is either a prospect, a salesperson, and that person is in many different countries. So first aspect of a lot of elements we do, and in the oil and gas industry, solutions have to be multilingual. Even if English is a large amount, Portuguese, Russians, a lot of these tools have to be multilingual. I wanted to thank our translation partners to be here today because they have a big role into making this all this tool multilingual. And then it is distributed all across the board. So one thing that we didn't mention is this presentation, this interactive, is available in multiple lobbies at Lloyd's Register. So you have a web presentation, you have a trade show presentation, you have a lobby presentation, and then you have the Salesforce that is using this tool as their main presentation tool. So on where we are today on the mobile side, the application is available on Windows Surface and soon to be available on iPads. So that's on the distribution. So we've got the audience, we've got the multiple distribution. The next phase is how to maintain that information. So there's really two core technical components here. There is the ability for multiple administrators from multiple divisions of Lloyd's in multiple countries to maintain the content. So we have one unique face, and the information is consistent across the block. So, you can call it a content management system. That's what it's called in the web world. You can call it whatever you want, but that's kind of the tool set that allows that. So we've developed that, and we're continually improving it to reach the other goal. And then you've got the application distribution engine. Now you've got all these different venues, and soon to be the iPad application. We need to make sure that we can push the updates, and the different devices react differently based on what they are. So we've got two technical components here that are key to making this a success. Because if you just do the first two parts, you get your data is updated the day you push it live. So which is a big issue. Then the third aspect that I went through here is the lead generation aspect. So moving forward, Eric, you wanted to say a few words?
Sure, yeah. So, I mean, this is the beginning of a journey for us. I see this becoming our platform for business development around the world. And we're already talking about adding more video to it, adding PowerPoint functionality to it, adding examples. I just had a meeting 2 weeks ago with our deliverables department on providing examples of all of our deliverables in there. People ask, well, you know, what do I get from an inspection or an audit? And we'll be able to show that in addition to our promotional material. Something I think a lot of people in the room can relate to is it wasn't all that long ago that versioning was such a nightmare for us on printed collateral and PowerPoints, and I'm really looking forward to centrally controlling and pushing all of our collateral out digitally through this tool. So yeah, we've got great hopes for it. Implementation-wise, as Arno mentioned, we've got large format 42-inch screen displays in our lobbies, and then we've got mobile devices, which there's an example over there, and I believe we'll have that up and running so you can play with it at the end of the presentation. And if we can get a Wi-Fi connection, you can even input your information and download some of our collateral, and I'll be in touch with you later. All right, well, thank you.
Okay, so yeah, thank you. No, I mean that's really a brief overview. I mean, there's a lot of technical elements that we could go, you know, over, and but again, it's a marketing presentation, so we're not going to talk about widgets and database and APIs, but they're all there. And what I wanted to say that this is a strategy project associated with a lot of creative and kind of a UX type and a lot of technical implementation in the back end, and trying to make it. And I think we're close to making it seamless to the user, and that's kind of where we what Eric wanted to do, you know, from the get-go.